What is going on, guys and gals? My name is Schematocles, and I am so glad to be back in X-Plane 11. It's been a crazy couple of weeks for me at work, just insanely busy. But I'm here now, and I'm sitting in the default F-22 Raptor from X-Plane 10, but we're actually in the X-Plane 11 beta, and some of you might wonder, how is that even possible? One of my subs pointed out to me in the Kalamata F-18 video that the Kalamata is actually an X-Plane 10 aircraft, and I seem to be flying it in X-Plane 11 with pretty much no trouble. Everything seemed to be pretty well optimized, so that got me thinking, are there other airplanes that this will work for? So I go into the X-Plane 10 directory and just copy-paste the F-22 into X-Plane 11 and load up X-Plane 11, and here we are on the ramp, and everything appears to be working just fine. I've flown around a little bit in the F-22. The flight model seems to be pretty consistent. All the control surfaces and everything move just fine, as you can see. Flaps and stuff work. So I just thought that this was kind of interesting, and if there were any of you out there who weren't aware that you could do this, apparently you can take some aircraft out of X-Plane 10 or maybe even earlier versions of X-Plane and put them in the X-Plane 11 directory, just to kind of expand your library of aircraft that you have access to. So neat little trick. I wasn't aware that you could do it, but apparently you can. Okay. And again, that's a kind of a disclaimer. I don't know what airplanes this will and won't work for, and the stability and optimization of each airplane will probably be, on a one-by-one basis. So, okay. Well, anyway, we're sitting here at Tyndall Air Force Base, which is, of course, the home of the active air wing of F-22 Raptors. And I figured we would just kind of do a little aerial demonstration of what this aircraft is capable of. I'd actually never flown it until I got X-Plane 11. And it's pretty incredible, just in terms of the super maneuverability of the airplane. It's got to be the most impressive aircraft I've ever flown in a flight sim, and it's probably almost a little bit on the unrealistic side just how incredible the performance of this airplane is. So we're going to go test it out. This is a little bit of a demo just to kind of prove that this concept even works in the first place, and that you can kind of take airplanes from previous versions. But it's cool. A lot of the features in the cockpit don't actually work, like the autopilot. There's no way to change the autopilot heading. A lot of weird stuff like that. I don't think that that's actually due to the conversion. I think that this default flight model is actually just kind of missing a lot of functionality, which is a little weird given that it's a default aircraft, but that's fine. It's fun for the purposes of just kind of going fast and turning and burning. So that's what we're going to do today. And again, I'm just super glad to be back on YouTube. I miss you guys a lot. It's always kind of a bummer when I can't upload for a couple of weeks, but this is not my job, so I do have to balance my priorities out. All right. I think we're at about 300 subs on the channel, which is just unbelievable. It really makes me smile every time I log on to the channel and just see all the comments that I've got on videos, and getting to interact with you guys and kind of just build a community. I think it's great, and everybody's of similar mindset, and we're all kind of into the whole aviation thing, and I just think that's awesome. The internet's a really cool place when you can get together with like-minded people. Okay. So I'm gonna do my best to fly this thing as well as I can. It is pretty tricky to handle, actually, at times, just because of how maneuverable it is. So hopefully it doesn't get away from me. But I don't claim to be a professional pilot or anything like that. I'm not even an actual pilot, so I'm just gonna do what I can and hopefully give you guys an interesting ride as we go along here. Alright, let's go ahead and set the parking brake. We will do a control check just to make sure that everything looks good here. That is correct. Good to go. like the thrust vectoring nozzles. Part of the reason that this airplane is in fact so maneuverable is that it can vector its thrust. I think only in one axis though, not yeah, only longitudinally. I don't think that it can actually vector in any other directions. And it appears that the rudders on the tails are not actually moving, which is a little weird. So I'm not sure what the deal with that is. Maybe that never found its way in. We'll see once we get up in the air if those do move. Okay. All right, guys, here we go. I'm gonna basically take off at about 400 knots or so, stay in ground effect, and then we'll get a little bit of a climb out. Not gonna do a full performance takeoff, but we will test the climb performance once we're up in the air. Okay. Gonna throttle up to about 50% in one. All right, let that stabilize. Parking brake release. All right, and I'm not going to go into full afterburner here just because this airplane is so powerful. We'd be at 500 knots before we knew it, so already at rotation speed. And we're off, gears coming up. I'm going to throttle back just a little bit. And as you can see, I'm sitting at about 50% throttle right now, and it is having no problem climbing out. Really crazy. Never actually been to Tyndall, but from what I understand, the area is pretty beautiful. Florida's pretty nice. All right, let's go ahead and see if we can pull a little bit of a Cuban 8 here. Get back on runway heading. All right, I'm gonna pull that throttle. We just barely went into full afterburner for just a second there. And as you can see, she is pretty slippery. 600 knots already. We'd be breaking all kinds of regulations here. All right. And that was probably about half of the achievable roll rate there. That's just pretty nuts when you think about it. Again, I can't testify to the realism of the flight model, but it is pretty cool. And it's definitely a blast to just kind of get up here and mess around with. I'm not sure if this is just me, but it appears that the textures actually look a little better in X-Plane 11 than they do in X-Plane 10. I'm not sure if that's like a placebo effect or what the deal is, but that's just kind of my perception. You know, in the cockpit everything looks the same, but externally I think that the aircraft actually looks a bit better, so interesting. I could be wrong about that, but okay. So enough talking here. Let's go ahead and put this thing through her paces. Okay, so I'm gonna more or less go in for a full power climb here. We'll get down into kind of ground effect and simulate a time to climb up to 30,000 feet or so. Obviously, it won't be completely accurate. Tap the air brake. All right, let's punch it. It has a thrust to weight ratio of greater than 1, so we can accelerate like a rocket. Just stand on the tail. As you can see, we're pretty much 90-degree vertical and still handily accelerating, or we were. Just now starting to slow down. There's 20,000 feet. Really crazy. All right, and there's 30,000 feet. Let's go ahead and pull back. Absolutely insane. Really cool. And there's Tyndall down below us. This is great. I really do wish that they would kind of work on the functionality, though, because I can't actually take it out for a flight anywhere, which is a little bit unfortunate. I guess you might be able to use the VOR locator if you are close enough to a VOR to do that, but it's kind of unfortunate, I guess. Okay, so let's go back down. Alright, so I'm going to go back out onto the infield, and we'll test out just how maneuverable this thing actually is. We've seen the climb performance now, which is pretty ridiculous. I mean, I didn't time it, but that was, you know, 30,000 feet in under a minute easily. So I don't think that the actual maximum climb rate of the F-22 is published. It would be classified. But from what I understand, it's probably in excess of 50,000 feet per minute. So maybe it's not that unrealistic. You never know. Having seen these things at air shows, they're pretty absurd. Okay, so I'll kind of level out here a couple hundred feet and just pop kind of a donut around the infield here. We're gonna need some afterburner for this. All right, here we go. Gonna get around as fast as we can. Try not to pull her into an accelerated stall here. Oh, the G's. I can't pull back too much farther. Okay. That's pretty nuts. So, got around on the infield and probably, I don't know, what, a couple 100 meters. That's unbelievable. Awesome. Cool, cool. Kind of want to see if I can go low and slow, as they say. I'll give that a shot. Tap the air brake. Thing is really slippery. It just tends to not slow down very well. So I'll go in, just kind of stand it on its nose almost, and see if I can maintain altitude with the thrust. All right. Maybe not. We'll see. It is accelerating. Yeah, that probably wasn't the neatest low and slow ever. I think the Thunderbirds could probably do a little better job. I'll get down and try that one more time. Because the flight computers on the F-22 are so advanced, it's actually kind of hard to get into serious trouble in the airplane. Let's see here. Just gotta kind of pay attention to the horizon. There we go. That's pretty good. Hovering and F-22. We're gonna go ahead and throttle up and get on out of here. How about that? Not too bad. Almost like flying an RC 3D plane. Absolutely insane. Beautiful Florida sunset. Nice day. Good start to the weekend, getting to play some X-Plane 11. There'll be more videos going up this weekend, guys. Again, I just kind of wanted to put up this little short one to let you know what the deal is. I haven't disappeared off the face of the planet, and I appreciate your patience, really and truly. Okay. kind of maneuver on out, give ourselves a little bit of room to land this thing. Beautiful airplane. The F-22 is my favorite modern fighter, I'll have to say. Really awesome. One of very few what you consider to be 5th generation super fighters. We might have to do some more flights in it, kind of less serious, you know. Probably not going to be doing any kind of navigation or long haul flights in it, but we could do the short little one-offs where we just kind of take it out and do some high performance stuff. Alright. Go ahead and get that gear out. Got the speed brake out as well, just trying to slow down a little bit. The stall speed for the airplane is about 100 knots with full flaps and gear, so still got a lot of room to slow down. Add just a little bit of power. It's got some trees in our flight path here. Alright. Let's butter the bread. Try to. Not floating halfway down the runway here. There we go. Alright. Deploy the brakes, speed brakes. Alright, speed brakes coming in. Brake release. Flaps coming up. Alright, guys and gals. I hope you have enjoyed what's going to be a pretty short video here, but it's almost more of a public service announcement for me, just kind of letting you know what my status is. I know I said I was going to be kind of back in the loop on videos, but right when you think you're out, they pull you back in, and work's been nuts, but I'm here, and hopefully we're going to have a couple videos going up this weekend, so I do appreciate your support and your patience, and I will catch you guys in the next one.